Do you hear it? The footsteps echoing in the night, the whispers of the wind slipping through cracks in the door. Darkness cloaks the road ahead, and voices hidden in the void are plotting and scheming. But don't let your heart tremble. Don't let your eyes be fooled into believing the darkness can swallow the light. Your enemy stands there, striking a pose like he's already won. But he doesn't realize defeat was etched in stone before this battle even began. Because I am here, and I tell you, your enemy will not conquer you. He has marched through generations, wearing the crown of lies and cloaked in the garments of temptation. He watches you with sharp eyes, disguised in 1,000 different ways. Sometimes as a fear creeping into your heart, sometimes as a voice sowing seeds of doubt in your mind. He comes in the storms of your life, whispering words into your ear that make you lose your way, making you think you're all alone and I've forgotten you. But don't let your mind be swayed. Don't let your heart falter, because the truth is, he has no power over you. He can roar. He can create great waves, but he cannot drown you if you hold tight to me. Your enemy isn't just the physical forces you can see. He's also the unseen chains binding your soul, the negative thoughts trying to pull you down into the shadows. He might be the past pain that clings to you, the wounds that haven't healed, the resentment you hold in your heart. He wants you to believe you're not strong enough, that you can't overcome. But I tell you, your enemy is only strong when you give him the power. If you stand firm in me, he can't touch you. Remember this. I didn't create you to be a failure. I didn't place you in this world to be a victim of trials. I created you in my image, with a power your enemy can't comprehend. He looks at you and trembles, because he knows that if you awaken, if you realize who you are in me, he'll have nothing left to hold. But he doesn't want you to know that. He wants to blind you, to make you see a weakened version of yourself. He wants you to bow your head, wants you to accept defeat. But I tell you, don't bow your head. Don't look at the challenges. Don't look at the fear. Don't look at his lies. Look at me. I am the light, and no one can extinguish this light. I am the strength, and no one can shake this strength. If you are in me, you will walk like a warrior, and no weapon of the enemy can harm you. He may fight against you, but he will not win, because no one can stand against my purpose. No one can destroy what I have built. And I have placed you in the palm of my hand, a place no enemy can reach. He'll use every trick to weaken you, not with a face-to-face battle, but with slow, gradual erosion. He'll plant seeds of doubt in your heart, whispers of discouragement, painful memories to hold you captive in the past. He wants you to look in the mirror and see only a small person, a fragile soul, a heart worn down by loss and sadness. But you must not let your mind be caught in those illusions, because he cannot define you. I am the one who knew you even before you were formed. I placed in you an indomitable spirit, a flame that cannot be extinguished, a will that cannot be broken. If you choose to stand in my light, your enemy won't always come in a recognizable form. He's not just the people who oppose you, the attacks, the difficult circumstances. He's also the silent thoughts that creep into your heart when you feel weak. He makes you think you can't keep going, that you're not good enough, that all your efforts are useless. He wants you to give up before you realize you were so close to victory. He doesn't need to defeat you in a major battle. He only needs to make you hesitate, only needs to make you lose faith in yourself. That's how he fights, but you can't let him win. Do you know that every time you choose to get back up after a fall, every time you keep going even when your heart is full of wounds, every time you walk with faith that something good is still ahead, you terrify your enemy? He's not afraid of people who are strong from the start, but he's afraid of those who refuse to surrender. He's afraid of souls who don't give up, hearts that keep beating with hope. He's afraid when you start to understand that you're not alone, that you're not just a frail human being, but a warrior held and supported by me. You don't need to look for strength somewhere far away, because it's been inside you since you were born. I didn't create you to live in anxiety and fear forever. I didn't let you face this world without protection. I put in you a courage that the enemy can't extinguish, a light that darkness can't overshadow. But you have to choose to see it. You have to choose to stand up. You have to choose to believe that nothing can knock you down unless you allow it. And I tell you, never allow that to happen. Remember that the challenges you're facing aren't a sign of failure, but proof that you're heading in the right direction. If you weren't valuable, the enemy wouldn't target you. If you didn't have a great mission, he wouldn't try to pull you down. He doesn't waste his time fighting against those who have already voluntarily surrendered. But he targets those who are still fighting, those who still hold on to faith, those who are still walking on the path of light. If you feel the battle within you growing fierce, it's because you're on an important path. Don't turn away. Don't run. Hold your ground, because you're not fighting alone. I have seen every tear you've cried, every time you've been weary and wanted to stop, every time you felt you had no strength left to continue. But listen to me. Even when you have no strength left, just stand still in faith, and I will fight for you. Your enemy isn't an invincible entity. He's only strong when you believe he's strong. He only has power when you agree to let him control your emotions, thoughts, and actions. But if you refuse, if you stand up with faith that nothing can stop you from fulfilling what I've placed in your heart, then he'll have nothing left to hold, and you'll see him retreat. No storm lasts forever. No darkness lasts without the light of dawn. No pain can exist forever when you walk in my protection. What you're facing isn't the end. It's just a part of the story. And I want you to know that the next chapter of this story isn't defeat. It's rising up. It's victory. It's freedom. Your enemy will not win because he has no power over you. You were born to overcome. You were born to walk in the glory I have prepared for you. And you will see the day you no longer fear is the day he loses all his power. So don't look at the challenges. Don't look at the obstacles in front of you. Look at what I have put in you. Look at the unquenchable light burning in your heart. Because when you stand up, when you refuse to retreat, when you continue even when everything says you should stop, that is when victory belongs to you. I have called you a victor before this battle even began. Keep going, because your enemy will not conquer you. He knows your weaknesses, but he doesn't know the full extent of your inner strength. He thinks that by creating a little pressure, you'll crumble. He thinks that when life gets too hard, you'll choose to give up. He's waiting for the moment you turn your back on the path I have ordained for you. But he doesn't understand that I created you with a strength that far exceeds what he can imagine. There is no challenge you can't overcome when you know who's on your side. There is no darkness that can engulf the light when you choose to walk in my truth. He wants you to believe you are alone, but that's just an illusion. He makes you feel that every door has been closed, that there is no path ahead. He whispers in your mind that no one cares about you, that you're just a meaningless speck in the flow of life. But he's wrong. You are never abandoned. You are never forgotten. I saw you before you were born. I have called you by name, and I will not let your enemy have the victory. What you're experiencing isn't the end, but just a bend in the road. A bend doesn't mean you're going the wrong way. A difficulty doesn't mean you're abandoned. A temporary setback doesn't mean you can't rise again. The enemy wants you to mistake the challenge for destiny. He wants you to believe that what you're going through will last forever, that you'll never escape it. But you need to know this. All your suffering has a limit, but the glory I have for you is infinite. He tries to distort the truth, turning you into a victim of circumstances. But you are not a victim. You are chosen. You are not a weak person pushed around by life, but someone who has been empowered to triumph. You're not destined to live in fear, but to walk in courage. He wants you to see what you lack, but I want you to see what you have. Do you know that in your hands you hold not only human limitations, but also power for me? When you walk in faith, what seems impossible becomes possible. Doors that seemed shut open. Walls that seemed insurmountable collapse. The enemy isn't afraid of those with external power, but he dreads souls that are indomitable inside. He'll test you with delays. He knows that if you persevere, you'll reach your destination. But if he can make you lose patience, make you feel like you've been waiting too long, make you think things will never change, then he can make you give up on what should rightfully be yours. Don't fall into his trap. You can't see everything that's happening in the unseen realm. But I tell you that even when you don't realize it, everything is still moving. Every prayer you make is not forgotten. Every tear you cry is not ignored. You just need to stand firm, because my timing is always perfect. Your enemy cannot control time. He can't prevent what I have planned for you, but he will try to discourage you, make you lose hope before you can touch the blessing I have prepared. You have to be patient. You have to keep the faith. You have to refuse to let his lies drown out the truth. He'll also test you with temptation. If he can't defeat you with fear, he'll try to use other things to pull you off course. He may put easier paths in front of you, options that seem attractive but are full of danger. He may make you feel that following the truth is too hard, that giving up principles will help you get what you want faster. But look deep inside. He gives nothing for free. What he gives, he'll take back at a greater price. You don't need anything from him. You don't need help from the darkness. Everything you need has already been prepared for you in a way that is good and complete. Don't let temptation take you away from your path. Don't let fleeting promises make you lose your long-term future. What you're aiming for isn't just temporary things, but an eternal glory. You must be stronger than temptation. You must look beyond what's in front of you. You must understand that nothing from the enemy truly benefits you. Everything he brings is just a cleverly disguised trap. But you're not someone who will fall into that trap. I have given you the wisdom to recognize it. I have given you the courage to refuse it. Keep your heart strong. Don't let weariness make you stop. Don't let lies make you lose your way. Don't let temporary trials make you forget the glory that awaits you. The enemy may try, but he cannot win because I stand with you. And with me, you cannot be defeated. Your enemy doesn't just come from the outside. Sometimes he appears right inside you, in the silent thoughts that creep into your mind every day. He may not shout with threats, but he whispers with doubts. He plants in you the thought that you're not good enough, that you'll never achieve anything meaningful, that the mistakes of the past have destined you to never change. He wants you to turn against yourself, wants you to cut off hope before you can see the path ahead. But I tell you not to believe those whispers. You are not destined to fail. You are not bound by the past. You are not a slave to your mistakes. You were born to walk in the freedom I give you. He'll try to keep you in the safe zone of fear. He knows that if you step out, if you dare to face the challenges, if you dare to believe in big things, then you'll become stronger. So, he wants you to stay put. He wants you to hesitate, procrastinate, delay. He wants you to look at the dangers instead of looking at the opportunities. He wants you to think that you're not ready, that you need to have more conditions before you act. But you don't need to wait until everything is perfect to start. You don't need to wait until you no longer feel fear to walk. I don't wait until you are perfect to call you. I don't need you to become strong in the ways of the world before I use you for a great purpose. If you keep waiting, you'll only stay in one place. If you keep letting fear decide, you'll never see what I have prepared for you. Your enemy wants you to forget that sometimes victory isn't the absence of fear, but walking even when fear is still there. That is true courage. He'll also test you through the relationships around you. He may use those closest to you to discourage you. It may be people who used to trust you, but now they doubt you. It may be people who are supposed to encourage you, but instead, they make you feel small. He knows that words have power. A criticism can cut deep into your heart. A betrayal can make you not want to trust anyone anymore. A rejection can make you think you don't deserve it. But you cannot let those things define you. You cannot let the pain caused by people keep you from drawing near to me. You cannot let injuries turn you into a bitter person. If you let your enemy use other people to make you lose the good nature I put in you, then he has won. But if you choose to forgive, if you choose to continue loving even when no one responds, if you choose to continue walking even when you are misunderstood, then you're taking back control. He'll also try to make you lose yourself by making you tired. He knows that if you're exhausted, you'll be vulnerable. If you work nonstop without letting your soul rest, you'll easily lose your way. He wants you to think that you have to do everything alone, that you have to shoulder all the burdens. But I have never called you to live a life full of pressure. I have never asked you to fight in this war without my help. He'll also test you with disappointments. There are things you're asking for that you haven't seen answered. There are dreams you carry in your heart that haven't come true. He'll take advantage of those things to make you lose faith. He'll tell you that I've forgotten you, that I don't hear your prayers, that all the waiting is useless. But don't believe those words. You can't measure my plan just by what you see right now. Just because you haven't received doesn't mean I'm not acting. Just because you haven't seen the door open doesn't mean it will never open. I don't work the way you expect, but I always act at the right time. The enemy may try to delay you, discourage you, make you doubt, but you have to stand firm. If you continue to keep the faith, continue to walk, continue to fight, then you will see that he has no right to decide your outcome. Only I hold your future, and your future isn't failure, isn't fear, isn't despair. You are destined to triumph. You are created to overcome. You are created to shine in the glory that I have placed inside you. He may make an effort, but he won't win. He may deceive, but you will not be defeated, because you don't go alone, because you don't fight with your own strength, because you don't rely on the power of the world, but rely on the one who created heaven and earth. And with me, you will never be defeated. Your enemy can be the voices echoing from the past, reminding you of the times you stumbled, the times you were rejected, the times you felt you weren't good enough. He doesn't need to appear before you with a frightening appearance. He only needs to evoke in your heart vague fears, self-doubt, feelings of helplessness. He wants you to remember the bad things that happened, wants you to believe that the future will be no different from the past. But I tell you that what has passed has no right to decide what will come. Memories can imprison you, but they cannot control you if you don't let them. The injuries you once suffered aren't the end. They're just a part of your story, but not the ending. He will also take advantage of the waiting to test you. There are things you ask for, but there seems to be no change. He will say that I have forgotten you, that you have been abandoned. He wants you to think that there's no reason to continue hoping. But you cannot let what you see right now make you lose faith. The enemy wants you to believe that waiting is meaningless. But I tell you that every moment you persevere has value. Nothing is wasted in my hand. You may not understand everything that is happening, but you don't need to understand everything to trust me. Look, in the moments you think are meaningless, I'm still working. When you feel left behind, I'm leading you into a path that your enemy cannot destroy. When you think everything is against you, I'm preparing for you what the world cannot take away. The enemy wants you to doubt, but I want you to trust. He wants you to give up, but I want you to persevere. He wants you to think that no one cares about you, but I tell you that I am always here. Your enemy will also use your own desires to test you. He knows you desire success, desire to be recognized, desire to be loved, but he'll turn those desires into pressure. He'll make you compare yourself to others, make you feel that you're always inferior, that you're never good enough. He'll say that you have to prove yourself, that you have to do everything you can to earn the acceptance of others. But I don't call you to live like that. You don't need to chase the recognition of the world, because your value doesn't come from the eyes of humans. Your value doesn't come from what you do, doesn't come from what you own, but comes from the one who created you. If you place your faith in fame, in achievements, and in the praise of people, then you'll always be anxious because those things can disappear at any time. But if you lay your foundation on me, you will not be shaken. The world may change, people may change, but I don't change. And you don't need to compete for anything to have a place in my heart, because you have belonged to me from the beginning. The enemy wants you to be busy chasing external things. But I want you to know that you already have everything when you have me. He'll also use fatigue to weaken you. You'll have days when you feel exhausted, feel unable to continue. The pressures of life, the responsibilities, the worries will wear you down. He'll take advantage of that to whisper to you that you can't go any further, that you should stop, that there's no use in continuing to try. But you cannot let weariness decide your fate. You may be weak, but I'm never weak. You may feel exhausted, but my power never runs out. If you rely on your own strength, you'll be easily defeated. But if you rely on me, you'll have the strength to stand firm. Don't think that being strong means never feeling tired. Don't think that victory means never having a fight. The great ones are not those who have never been tested, but those who have overcome the tests. The persistent ones are not those who have never felt like giving up, but those who have chosen not to give up no matter how difficult it is. You don't need to be the strongest, but you need to be someone who doesn't retreat. And I tell you that if you don't give up, you'll see that everything you have experienced is just preparation for something greater. He'll also test you through misunderstandings to make you estranged from those around you. He knows that if you're lonely, you'll be vulnerable. He knows that if you feel no one understands you, you'll easily be discouraged. So, he'll create distances, will sow in your heart negative thoughts about those around you. He'll make you think that no one really cares about you, that you can't trust anyone, that you're better off alone. But you must not let him deceive you. You must not let him push you into isolation. You must not let the injuries make you close the door of your heart. Let me remind you that you were not created to walk alone. You were not created to fight alone. You don't need to bear all the burdens without help. The enemy wants you to separate yourself, but I want you to walk in love, in connection, in mutual support. Don't let misunderstandings make you lose the precious ones. Don't let the injuries make you lose love, because love has greater power than anything the enemy can use against you. He can test you in many ways, but he will not conquer you. He can set traps, but you don't need to fall into them. He can make you doubt, but you don't need to believe the lies. You don't fight alone, you're not isolated, and I never leave you alone in this battle. With me, you have everything you need to overcome. Your enemy may try, but he will not be able to conquer you because you have been created to triumph, to walk in glory, to live a life that no force can destroy. I have placed in you a flame that nothing can extinguish. And if you keep the faith, you'll see that nothing, no one, no force can defeat you. Your enemy doesn't just attack you from the outside, but he also finds a way to creep into your mind, sowing seeds of doubt, anxiety, and fear. He understands that if he can control your thoughts, he can weaken you before you even get a chance to stand up and fight. He will tell you that you are not capable, that you are too small to make a difference, that what you do will not bring any results. He wants you to feel insignificant, to feel that you are walking in a loop with no escape, to feel that your life is just a series of dull days with no purpose. But remember that those are just lies. Everything you do has meaning. Every persistence of yours is a victory. Every step you take forward is a resistance against the forces that want to destroy you. He wants you to get caught up in the messy, negative thoughts to the point that you forget the true power you have. He wants you to forget that you were made with a mission, a goal, a value that no one can take away. He wants you to forget that you are not just someone passing through this life randomly, but that you are the one who was placed in the right position at the right time, in the right circumstances to complete what I have prepared for you. You are not a mistake. You are not an anonymous person with no importance. He can make you feel like that, but feelings are not the truth. The truth is that you were created to fight and triumph. The truth is that you don't need to run or avoid it, because I have put in you the strength to face anything that is coming. He will also use the past to imprison you. He will remind you of the mistakes you have made, the opportunities you have missed, the moments when you disappointed others. He will use memories to bind you, making you believe that you cannot change, that your mistakes have determined your fate. But I tell you that nothing in the past can bind you if you don't allow it to. Old wounds have no right to control you. Mistakes don't define you. You are not the sum of what you have done wrong, but you are who I have called and chosen. Let the past become a lesson, but don't let it become chains. Remember that you're no longer where you used to stand. You are moving forward, and nothing can pull you back if you don't look back. The enemy will also use time to discourage you. He knows that you have expectations, that there are things you hope will happen, that there are prayers you are waiting for an answer to. He will whisper in your ear that everything is taking too long, that maybe the things you expect will never come. He will make you feel as if you are waiting for something that isn't real. He wants you to lose patience, lose faith, lose perseverance. But you must remember that nothing is late. No prayer is meaningless. You don't see everything I am doing, but you can believe that I am never late. Waiting is not a punishment, but a process. During that time, I am preparing you so that you can receive the best. If you give up too soon, you will miss what I have in store for you. He will also make you doubt what you are doing. He will make you feel that your efforts are not bringing results, that what you do is useless. He wants you to wonder if it's worth continuing or not. He wants you to believe that no one will care if you stop trying, that no one will notice if you stop. But that's just an illusion. Everything you do makes a difference. The little things you do that no one sees are also important. The words of encouragement you give to someone, the kind acts you perform without expecting to be recognized, are all valuable. You cannot measure your impact only by what you see immediately. There are things you do today that you will not see results right away, but they're creating a change that you cannot yet realize. The enemy wants you to think that victory only comes when you achieve big things, but I tell you that victory is also in the small things. When you choose hope instead of despair, that's a victory. When you choose love instead of resentment, that's a victory. When you choose to continue even when everything around you tells you to stop, that's a victory. He cannot take those victories away from you. He will also use criticisms to make you back down. He will make you care too much about what others think about you to the point that you forget what's most important, whether you're heading in the right direction or not. He will make you fear the negative comments, fear the opposition, fear not being accepted. But you cannot let fear control you. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will support you. But that doesn't mean you're wrong. You cannot let the opinions of humans cause you to deviate from what I have called you to do. He will also make you think that you have to do everything alone. He wants you to believe that no one really cares, that you cannot rely on anyone, that you have to carry everything yourself. But you must not let him deceive you. You are not alone. You don't have to endure alone. Let me lift you up. Let me be your strength. Let me go with you on this road. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to trust that I am leading you every step of the way. The enemy may try in every way, but he will not conquer you because you don't fight alone. You don't fight with your own strength, but with the power of the one who has overcome all. He can make you tired, but he can't defeat you if you don't give up. He can make you afraid, but he can't take away your courage if you don't let him. He can test you, but he can't stop you because you are made to walk in glory. And I tell you, if you keep standing strong, you'll see that everything he does is in vain because you belong to me and nothing can defeat you. Your enemy doesn't just try to attack you head on. He subtly plants tiny seeds of weakness in your soul so that little by little they grow into invisible chains, preventing you from moving forward. He doesn't need to appear in a clear way. He doesn't need to openly declare war, but he only needs to slowly make you lose faith in yourself, to get you used to compromise, to make you accept wrong things as an inevitable part of life. He wants you to feel that small failures aren't worth worrying about, that giving up doesn't really matter, that wrong choices don't have much of an impact. But you can't let him trick you. A small drop of water can wear away stone, and a small concession can lead you to collapse. I didn't call you to live a passive life, but to fight and claim victory. He'll also make you feel that your pain is pointless. He'll make you believe that your hurts, your losses, your trials only make you more miserable without bringing anything good. He wants you to look at your wounds and think they only make you weak. But remember that gold has to pass through fire to become pure, and a sword has to be forged to become sharp. Pain isn't the end. It's a process of transformation. When you endure hardship without giving up, you're becoming stronger. When you go through suffering without losing yourself, you're growing in perseverance. Every wound you carry isn't a sign of failure, but proof of your courage. Don't let the enemy make you think what you're going through is meaningless. If you're still standing after everything, that's already a victory. He'll also use comparison to disorient you. He'll make you look at those around you and feel inferior. He'll make you believe that other people's success is proof that you're not good enough, that what you have is too little. He'll make you forget the blessings you've received, making you always crave what belongs to others, forgetting your own true worth. But you can't let him control your mind. I didn't create you to be a copy of anyone. You have your own path, your own purpose, a journey that only you can complete. Someone else's success doesn't make you a loser, and your failures don't make you worthless. Remember that you don't need to be like anyone else to be loved. You don't need to have it all to be worthy. You just need to be yourself and walk the path I've set for you. The enemy will also make you impatient. He'll make you want everything right now, making you unwilling to wait, making you feel that if what you expect hasn't come, then maybe it never will. He'll make you doubt whether it's worth continuing to try, whether it's worth waiting. He wants you to be hasty, to trade long-term values for immediate things. But I tell you that the most precious things never come easily. Look at the seeds when they're planted in the ground. They don't immediately grow into trees. They need time to take root, to grow, to bear fruit. If you give up too soon, you'll never see the miracles waiting for you ahead. Waiting isn't a pointless delay. It's part of the plan. The enemy will also make you feel that your prayers go unanswered. He'll whisper in your ear that you've prayed for too long without seeing results, that maybe you've been forgotten. He wants you to give up your faith, to believe that you're fighting alone with no one listening. But remember that I never ignore your call. Even if you haven't seen the answer, that doesn't mean I'm not acting. There are things I'm doing that you don't see, plans I'm setting up that you can't yet understand. Don't let the silence shake you. Don't let the delay make you lose hope. You don't know what I protected you from, what paths I've led you down that are better, but believe that everything I do is for your benefit. The enemy will also make you think that you don't deserve anything good. He'll bring up your mistakes, your wrongdoings, the times you didn't do right, to make you feel you're not good enough, not pure enough, not holy enough to receive love and help from me. He wants you to believe that you have to be perfect to be loved, that you have to be spotless to be blessed. But you can't let him fool you. I don't love you because you're perfect. I love you even when you have many shortcomings. My love isn't based on what you do, but on who you are. No matter how many times you make mistakes, no matter how many times you stumble, I'll always welcome you. You don't need to meet a certain standard to be loved. You were loved from the moment you were created, and nothing can change that. He'll also make you think that his lies are the truth. He'll use your fears as weapons, making you believe you can't overcome, that you can't change, that you'll always be stuck in your current situation. He'll make you believe there's no hope, that there's no path ahead, that everything you do is in vain. But remember that darkness can't defeat light, and lies can't overcome truth. If you believe in the truth, if you hold firm to your faith, nothing can bring you down. You may feel afraid, but you're not controlled by fear. You may feel weak, but you're not bound by weakness. Remember that the enemy can't win if you don't let him. He can't take away your faith if you don't give it up. He can't steal your hope if you hold on to it tightly. He can't make you fall if you decide to get up. You're not fighting alone. You're not abandoned. You're not forgotten. You belong to me, and I have overcome all. So, keep going, be strong, hold fast to your faith, because your enemy will never win. Your enemy doesn't just come from the outside, he also creeps into your very thoughts and feelings. He knows how to make you doubt yourself, to make you think you're not strong enough to move forward, that you're worthless, that what you're trying to do is pointless. He sows toxic whispers into your mind, making you think they're your own thoughts, but in reality, they're invisible chains he puts on you. When you feel afraid, he'll say that you can't do anything but accept defeat. When you feel lonely, he'll make you believe that no one really cares about you. When you feel tired, he'll say that you should give up because nothing is worth you to continue. But I tell you that's not the truth. The truth is that you're stronger than you think. The truth is that you're not alone. The truth is that you have value, not because of what you do, but because you are you. He'll make you put too much emphasis on things that aren't necessary. He'll make you worry about what other people say, to worry about how they see you, to fear that if you don't meet their expectations, you won't be accepted. He wants you to be trapped in a cycle of seeking approval from the world to forget your true worth. But remember that you weren't born to please everyone. You don't need to chase after other people's gaze. You don't need to change yourself to fit the standards set by people. If you keep trying to please everyone, you'll lose yourself. But if you live according to the truth, you'll find true freedom. Your enemy will also use your past against you. He'll bring up the mistakes, the hurts, the stumbles in your life to trap you in feelings of guilt and regret. He wants you to believe that you can't change, that what happened in the past will forever shape your future. He makes you look back on the times you failed and says that you'll never be different. He makes you remember the times you hurt others and says that you don't deserve to be forgiven. He wants you to think that you're imprisoned in what's past, that there's no escape for you. But the truth is that the past has no right to control you unless you allow it. You can learn from it, but you're not bound by it. You can remember it, but you don't live in it. Today is a new beginning. Every day you walk in truth, you're rewriting the story of your life. He'll also make you worry too much about the future. He'll make you worry about things that haven't happened, making you afraid of what might come. He'll make you imagine a series of negative scenarios so that you live in anxiety instead of peace. He wants you to forget the present, to focus only on things you can't control. But remember that the future is not in your hands, but in my hands. If you trust in me, you don't need to worry. Anxiety doesn't help you control anything. It only wears you out. Instead of being afraid of things that haven't happened, focus on what you can do today. Live with complete faith, because I've gone before you and opened the way for you. Your enemy will also make you feel that what you have isn't enough. He'll make you look at your life and only see what you lack instead of what you've been given. He'll make you crave things that don't belong to you, so you always feel dissatisfied. He'll make you believe that if you have more money, more status, more power, you'll be happier. But remember that true happiness doesn't come from what you possess, but from your heart. If you only seek joy from material things, you'll always feel lacking because this world can't fill your soul. But if you know how to appreciate what you have, if you know how to live with gratitude, you'll always feel fulfilled. Your enemy will also make you think that you have no purpose. He'll make you feel that you're just existing, without reason, without meaning. He'll make you believe that you're nothing special, that your life doesn't affect anyone. But remember that I put you in this world for a reason. Nothing in your life is random. You're not a mistake, not a coincidence. You were created with a purpose, and whether you realize it or not, it still exists. When you walk according to the truth, when you live with faith, you'll gradually discover why you were born. Your enemy will also make you afraid of change. He'll make you cling to what's familiar, making you afraid to step out of your comfort zone, making you think that if you try something new, you'll fail. He wants you to be stuck in old habits, in the limits you set for yourself. But remember that you weren't created to stand still. You were created to grow, to change, to become better every day. If you're afraid and don't dare to step out, you'll never see the miracles waiting for you. He'll also make you think that you don't need help. He'll make you believe that you have to carry everything yourself, that if you ask someone for help, it means you're weak. He wants you to isolate yourself. He wants you to fight alone because he knows that when you stand alone, you'll be easier to defeat. But remember that you're not alone on this journey. I'm always with you, and I've placed those around you to help you. You don't need to do everything alone. Open your heart. Accept help when you need it because you weren't born to go alone. Your enemy has many tactics, but he can't win if you don't let him. He can't take anything from you unless you let him do it. He can make you doubt, but he can't force you to give up. He can make you afraid, but he can't stop you from moving forward. You have the power to win because you're not walking alone. You're sheltered, you're protected, you're loved, and nothing can change that. Walk with faith, live with strength, and remember that your enemy will never win. Your enemy not only uses lies to attack you, but also uses procrastination to make you flinch. He whispers in your ear that you can do it later. No need to rush. Tomorrow will also do. Next week is also okay. And so, he makes you lose time, makes you get used to hesitation, makes you become a person who always has plans but never acts. He knows that if you keep procrastinating, you'll never achieve anything. You'll let opportunities slip away, let promises never be kept. Let dreams be forgotten in laziness. But I tell you, don't leave for tomorrow what you can do today. Don't wait until you feel ready, because there are some things that will never have the perfect moment. If you keep waiting, you'll be stuck in that waiting itself. Be brave to move forward. Do what needs to be done right now. Live as if today is the last day you have the opportunity to change. Your enemy will also use relationships to attack you. He will bring into your life people who do not belong to you, people who pull you away from the truth, people who make you tired, make you doubtful, make you lose yourself. He knows that you will be affected by those around you, and he wants you to be surrounded by negative voices, criticisms, jealousies, souls full of bitterness. He wants you to connect with people who weaken you instead of people who lift you up. But remember that not everyone should go with you on this journey. There are some people who are only a part of a short road, but you try to keep them in your whole life. There are some people who come to you not to help you grow, but to stop you. If you are not careful, you will let the wrong people affect your soul, pulling you into the darkness that you do not realize. Look back at the people around you. Do they make you stronger? Do they encourage you? Do they lead you to the truth? If the answer is no, be brave to get away. Surround yourself with people who know how to love you sincerely, people who push you to be better, people who do not exploit you, but truly care about you. Your enemy will also make you lose joy. He knows that when you are joyful, you will have strength. When you have peace, you will not be easily shaken. So, he will make you busy with worries, make you drown in burdens, make you forget how to smile, how to enjoy life. He wants you to think that happiness is something distant, can only be achieved when you have more money, more success, more things. But remember that joy does not depend on external things. Joy comes from within you. You can have joy even when you don't have all that you want. You can find peace even when the world is full of storms. Don't let anyone or anything take away your joy. Don't let the enemy make you become bitter, make you forget the simplicity, make you lose precious moments in life. He will also use fear to make you give up on your dreams. He will put in your heart invisible fears. Fear of failure, fear of being judged, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being able. He wants you to stay stuck in your comfort zone because he knows if you dare to step out, you'll discover your true potential. If you dare to believe and dare to act, you'll accomplish things you never thought possible. But if you let fear control you, you'll miss out on the good things I have in store for you. I didn't create you to live in fear. I created you to live with courage. Your enemy doesn't want you to see the light. He'll try to disorient you, get you lost in the noise of the world. He'll plant seeds of doubt in your heart, confuse you about what's right and wrong, and lead you astray from the path you're meant to be on. He wants you to be shrouded in darkness because he's afraid that if you come into the light, he'll lose control. But light can't be extinguished, and truth can't be hidden no matter how hard he tries. He can't stop you from finding the light as long as you don't give up. As long as you crave the truth, as long as you walk with faith, you'll always find the right path. He'll also try to make you numb. He'll desensitize you to the pain of others, make you selfish, only caring about yourself. He knows that if you don't care about anyone but yourself, you'll gradually lose your humanity. You'll become someone who only lives to satisfy their own ego. He wants you to be indifferent, to lose your ability to love and care. But you weren't born to live only for yourself. You can't just think about what you want and forget about the people around you. You can't let your heart grow cold. If you still have love, you still have strength. If you still have compassion, you still have light. Your enemy won't stop fighting, but he can't win if you don't let him. He might try to make you fall, but you have the right to stand up. He might try to scare you, but you have the right to not let him control you. You're not a victim. You're not destined to fail. You're not as weak as he wants you to think. You have more power than you realize. You have faith, hope, a path to walk, and on that path, I'm always with you. You're not walking alone. You're not fighting alone. Remember this, your enemy won't defeat you. He might try, but he can't take away what belongs to you. He can't stop you if you don't let him. He can't extinguish the light within you if you keep walking with faith. Be strong, be steadfast. Remember that you're not ordinary. You were created to win, and no force can change that. Your enemy doesn't just attack from the outside. He also tries to invade your very thoughts and feelings. He plants seeds of doubt in your mind, making you distrust yourself, the path you're on, and the things I've placed in your heart. He wants you to lose yourself, to believe you're not worthy, that you're not good enough, that you can't do the things I've prepared for you. He makes you look in a mirror and only see the flaws, the mistakes, the imperfections. He makes you forget your true worth. Makes you live like an anonymous person in the world, afraid to stand up, afraid to pursue your dreams, afraid to reach for something bigger. But I'm telling you that you weren't created to live in self-doubt. You weren't born to be imprisoned by negative thoughts. I've placed a potential within you that's stronger than you think, a light that shines brighter than you can imagine. Don't let the enemy take away your confidence. Don't let his lies become your truth. He'll keep you busy with things that don't matter. He knows that if you spend your whole life chasing meaningless things, you won't have time for what truly matters. He'll fill your time with temporary pleasures, distractions that don't benefit your soul. He'll keep you glued to screens, wasting hours on useless things, squandering your days without doing anything to build your future. He knows that if you live like that, you'll waste precious years, and one day you'll realize you've missed out on so much. But by then, it might be too late to turn back. Wake up. Don't let the enemy steal your time. Every moment you have is an opportunity to create something good, to learn, to grow, to help others, to do something meaningful. Don't waste your life on things that have no value. Your enemy will also use the past to hold you captive. He'll whisper in your ear about the mistakes you've made, the times you've stumbled, the things you regret. He wants you to live forever in the memory of your failures, to constantly blame yourself, to always think that you can't change. He wants you to believe that you're destined to fail, that you don't deserve a fresh start. But remember, the past doesn't define you. Your mistakes can't determine your future. I don't see you through the lens of your errors. I see you through the potential you have to become. Let go of the past. Forgive yourself. Move forward with the faith that you can start over today. He'll also plant jealousy in your heart. He wants you to look at others and feel inferior. He wants you to compare your life to those around you and believe that you have nothing worthwhile. He wants you to envy the success of others instead of focusing on what I've given you. He knows that if you keep comparing yourself, you'll never feel like you're enough. You'll never be happy. You'll never be grateful for what you have. But remember, you have your own path. You weren't born to be like anyone else. You have your own gifts, your own journey, your own purpose that no one else can replace. Don't let jealousy make you forget the wonderful things you already have. Your enemy won't stop trying to make you fall, but you don't have to be afraid. He might try to make you waver, but you're not alone. You don't have to fight with your own strength. I'm always with you, always fighting for you, always protecting you. Just hold on to your faith. Just don't give up. Just don't let the enemy's lies control you, and you will win. Be strong, stand up, and remember that you're not a loser. You're someone who is destined to win. Your enemy is not only outside, but also hides deep in the habits you don't realize. He doesn't rush to knock you down in a flash, but gradually sneaks into your life, making you slowly move away from the light I gave you. He knows that you will not easily give up your faith in just one day, but if you slow down a little each day, if you start to compromise with small things, if you start to underestimate what is sacred, then gradually you will go far from me without even knowing it. He makes you think that skipping a prayer doesn't matter, that delaying a right decision is okay, that relaxing a little doesn't matter. But you don't realize that each small compromise will accumulate. Each time you skip the right thing will make you slide. Each day you neglect, it will take you further away from the path I want you to take. You must wake up. You must recognize the subtle traps he sets. Don't become someone who is so used to the dark that they no longer recognize it. Keep the fire in your heart. Remember that you cannot let slowness, laziness, or carelessness gradually lead you to the path of failure. He will also attack you with loneliness. He makes you think that you have no one by your side, that no one understands you, that even I am silent in the face of your pain. He makes you believe that you are fighting alone, that no one cares about you, that even if you fall, no one will lift you up. He makes you feel like you are lost in the world, like a boat drifting aimlessly in an ocean without shores. But remember, he is a liar. You are not alone, even when you don't see, even when you don't feel, even when you think no one cares about you. I am still there. I never leave you, never turn my back on you, never leave you alone in the dark. The moments when you thought no one saw your tears fall, I was there. The times you sighed in the night, I heard you. The times you felt abandoned, I took you in my arms without you even knowing. Don't believe the lies of the enemy. Believe that you're always loved, always protected, always cherished. He will also test you with fear. He makes you worry about the future, makes you panic about things that haven't happened, makes you tremble at what you can't control. He makes you imagine terrible scenarios, makes you deduce negative things, makes you believe that bad things will happen to you. He makes you think that if you step out of your comfort zone, you will fail. If you dare to face challenges, you will be defeated. If you put your faith in me, you will be hurt. But my child, fear does not come from me. Fear is the weapon of the enemy, the chains that bind you, the darkness that prevents you from seeing the light of faith. You must not let fear control you. You must not let invisible worries prevent you from walking. You must not let what you do not know become a burden on you. I want you to walk in courage. I want you to face life not with a trembling heart, but with the steadfastness of someone who knows that they are protected by me. Don't let fear make you forget that you have the strength to overcome. He will also use hurt to discourage you. He makes you remember the times you were hurt by others, the times you were betrayed, the times you put your trust in someone and they hurt you. He wants you to keep those wounds forever, wants you to close your heart, wants you never to trust anyone again. He makes you afraid to be hurt again, afraid to open your heart, afraid to forgive. He knows that if you keep the old wounds, you will never move on, you will never be able to love completely, you will never be able to live a free life. But my child, do not let the hurts of the past control you. Do not let the old wounds make you lose the opportunity to be happy. Do not let what others do to you make you close your heart. I don't want you to live in pain. I don't want you to be chained by sad memories forever. I want you to let go. I want you to forgive. I want you to move on without being bound by the past. Remember that the more you hold on to the pain, the more you empower the enemy to control you. But when you let go, when you forgive, when you decide not to let the past hold you back, you will find true freedom. Your enemy will not stop trying to make you fall, but he will not be able to defeat you. He may try to discourage you, but he cannot extinguish the fire in you. He may try to scare you, but he cannot take away your faith. He may put challenges before you, but he cannot stop you from walking. If you still hold my hand, remember that you are not fighting alone. Remember that you have a strength greater than you think. Remember that you were created to win, not to be defeated. Stand up, keep the faith, keep walking with courage. Because your enemy will not defeat you when you stand in my light. Your enemy doesn't just try to knock you down with things on the outside. He also sneaks into your inner thoughts, sowing doubts about yourself. He whispers in your ear that you're not good enough, you're not worthy, that you have no value in this world. He makes you look at your failures and conclude that you are incapable of rising up. He makes you believe that no matter how hard you try, you will never achieve anything completely. But that's a lie. I have placed a value within you that is greater than anything you can imagine. I don't see you the way the world sees you. I don't judge you by your temporary successes or failures. I don't measure you by the standards you set for yourself. You are my creation, the work that I have built with all my love. You have value not because of what you can do, but because of who you are in my eyes. Don't let the enemy's lies make you forget that. Remember that you don't need to prove your worth because you have been loved by me from the moment you were created. He will also attack you with the desires and enchantments of the world. He places before you things that look attractive, things that make you think they can bring instant happiness. He makes you believe that if you have enough money, enough fame, enough recognition from others, you will feel satisfied. He fills your mind with the illusion that only when you achieve those things can you find peace. But look at how many people have chased after those things, and have they really found happiness? How many people have traded everything to gain recognition from the world, but in the end, they still feel empty? How many people have spent their whole lives accumulating wealth, but when facing their final moment, they realize that they can't take anything with them? Don't let the enemy deceive you with fleeting things. Don't let the false lights lead you astray. Don't let the temporary desires make you move away from the most important thing. True happiness is not in what you have, but in you, in the connection between you and me. When you are in me, you will have everything, even if the world thinks you have nothing. He will also find a way to make you weak with tiredness. He makes you exhausted, makes you feel that the burden on your shoulders is too great, makes you think that you can't continue anymore. He makes you feel that each day that passes is just a new battle, that each morning you wake up is another challenge, that you don't have enough strength to face what awaits you. He makes you believe that giving up is the easiest choice, that giving in will help you escape the pain. But don't believe that. He wants you to fall, but I want you to stand firm. He wants you to give up, but I want you to continue. He wants you to be crushed under the weight of life, but I want you to realize that you are stronger than you think. Don't let tiredness make you forget the reason why you started. Don't let the burdens cover the light in you. Don't let the challenges make you forget that I have placed an extraordinary strength inside you. When you feel weak, remember that I am the source of your strength. When you feel exhausted, remember that I am where you can find true rest. When you feel like you can't move on, remember that you're not walking alone. Your enemy will not defeat you if you know how to fight him. If you keep the faith, if you don't let yourself be carried away by the lies, if you recognize the traps he sets, you will not be defeated. Don't let him control your thoughts. Don't let him sow fear, doubt, or anything that makes you move away from me. Always be awake. Always stand firm. Always remember that you are not fighting alone. No matter what way he tries, no matter how strong he is, he will not be able to defeat you because I have been with you and I never lose. Your enemy will not only attack you through trials, lies, or temptations, but he will also sow a frightening thing within you, loneliness. He will make you believe that no one understands you, that you are alone on this path, that no one truly cares about you. He will make you feel that even if you shout in the middle of the night, no one will hear you, that even if you fall, no one will reach out to lift you up. He makes you believe that you have no value in anyone's eyes, that the world keeps spinning whether you are present or not. The loneliness that he sows in your heart can be as deep as a bottomless abyss, as cold as a dark night, as heavy as each breath becomes a burden. But that's just an illusion. I have always been there, even when you don't realize it. I have walked beside you on the days that you thought you had no one. I have seen you cry even when you try to hide it. I have heard your sighs, even when you don't say them out loud. You are not alone. The enemy wants you to believe that no one needs you, but I have called you by your name from the beginning. The enemy wants you to feel abandoned, but I have always been there watching your every step. You may not see me with your naked eyes, but feel me with your heart. Don't let loneliness become the chains that bind you. Don't let it make you forget my presence. If you really listen, you will realize that I have never been silent. Your enemy also has another weapon, painful memories. He will stir up old wounds in you, making you remember the failures, the mistakes, the losses that you experienced. He wants you to live in the past so that you cannot move forward. He wants you to imprison yourself in pain forever so that you cannot see what I am preparing for you in the future. He makes you think that you are too hurt to continue, that your heart has been shattered so much that it cannot be healed. He makes you believe that your mistakes are unforgivable, that what has happened will forever define you. But don't let him imprison you in that darkness. Memories can be a burden if you let them control you, but they can also be a source of strength if you learn to overcome them. The things in the past do not have the right to decide your future. The mistakes do not have the right to take away your hope. The wounds do not have the right to close the door that I want to open for you. Look ahead, look at me. Don't let the past become chains that bind you, but let it become a launching pad to help you become stronger. What has passed cannot be changed, but you can change how you face it. Don't be afraid of wounds, because I can turn them into victory. Don't be afraid of painful memories, because I can turn them into a testimony of your strength. Don't let the enemy make you bow your head forever, because I have placed in you a strength to raise your head and move on. He will also find a way to make you lose yourself. He will make you compare yourself to others, making you feel that you're not good enough, not talented enough, not important enough. He will make you look at the people around you and wonder why they get what you don't have, why they succeed while you don't, why they're honored while you are forgotten. He will make you count everything you lack instead of seeing the things you already have. He wants you to feel inferior, useless, without purpose. But remember that I did not create you to be like anyone else. I have created you in a unique way, with a unique plan, with a unique purpose. You don't need to be like anyone else because you have been made according to the image I want. You have value not because you are better than someone else, but because you are yourself. You don't need to follow any standards of the world. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. You just need to live true to what I have placed in you. Don't let the words of the world make you waver. Don't let the false halo make you forget your true nature. Don't let the mediocre comparisons make you lose your joy. When you know who you are in me, you will no longer be afraid of anything. When you understand that you are made wonderfully and purposefully, you will no longer worry about what others think of you. When you put your eyes on me, you will no longer be swayed by things from the outside. Your enemy may be strong, but you are stronger. He may be cunning, but you have wisdom from me. He may try every way to defeat you, but you have been equipped to win. No challenge can make you fall forever. No darkness can extinguish the light in you. No lie can cover the fact that you belong to me. Remember this. The enemy will not defeat you because I have been on your side and I never lose. Your enemy will not only attack you with fears or painful memories, but he also sows doubts within you. He wants you to question everything I've promised, wants you to hesitate about the path you're taking, wants you to waver in the face of challenges. He whispers into your mind whether everything is real, whether you're sure you're going in the right direction, whether you're really loved. These doubts, if you let them grow, will become a wall separating you from me. It makes you stop when you should be moving forward, makes you delay when you should be acting, makes you hesitate when you should be steadfast. But remember that the enemy never wants you to see the truth. He just wants you to wallow in endless questions so that you get exhausted and give up. I have seen many people imprisoned by their own doubts. They don't dare to move forward for fear that they will fail. They don't dare to seize opportunities because they think they are not worthy. They don't dare to believe in love because they are afraid of being hurt again. But look at what will happen if you let those doubts control you. You will never live fully. You will never truly walk on the path that I have laid out. You will just stand in one place watching opportunities pass by, watching time slip away, watching your life buried in indecision. The enemy wants you to be trapped in a cycle of hesitation, but I want you to move forward. I want you to be strong, courageous, to dare to walk even when you don't see the whole picture. I want you to trust me even when everything around you seems to be against you. Don't let doubt stop you. Don't let the enemy's lies make you forget the truth that I have never broken a promise. Don't let fear of the future make you forget that I am the one who holds all time in my hands. The enemy doesn't just use doubts to make you flinch. He also sows weariness in you. He wants you to feel exhausted, depleted, wants you to believe that you no longer have the strength to continue. He whispers into your mind that everything is too difficult, that you can't possibly endure any more, that you should give up. He wants you to surrender, wants you to collapse, wants you to accept defeat before you have a chance to see your victory. He knows that if you continue, if you persevere, you will see the door open, you will see the breakthrough, you will see my promises fulfilled in your life. Therefore, he does everything to make you stop right at the threshold of the miracle. But I tell you, don't stop no matter how tired you are, no matter how exhausted you feel. Don't let the enemy win by making you give up. He cannot take away what belongs to you, but he can make you let go before you can receive them. He cannot hinder the plan I have for you, but he can make you lose the perseverance to pursue that plan. I know you have moments of weakness, but I have placed in you a strength greater than any challenge. You may be tired, but you are not weak. You may falter, but you are not a failure. You may shed tears, but you are not abandoned. If you keep walking, you will see the breakthrough that you have been waiting for. If you don't give up, you will witness the great things that I have prepared for you. The enemy cannot win if you do not surrender. He may attack you, but he cannot defeat you unless you voluntarily give up. He may place obstacles on your path, but you can still overcome them if you are determined. He may make you feel weak, but you can still stand firm if you cling to the strength that comes from me. Remember that he only has power over you if you let him have it. He can only knock you down if you allow him to do so. He can only scare you if you listen to his lies instead of listening to the truth that I have spoken. Therefore, don't be afraid, don't doubt, don't give up. Stand up, keep moving, look straight ahead. Let me lead you, and you will see that no enemy can defeat you when you stand in my light. Your enemy will not only try to defeat you from the outside, but he also wants to control you from the inside. He not only wants to make you stumble, but also wants to make you believe that you cannot get up anymore. He doesn't just want to take what you have. He wants to rob you of yourself. He knows that a person who loses their fighting spirit, loses hope, loses courage, is just an empty shell, even with everything else. He wants to paralyze you, to make you believe there's no way forward, that you're too weak to overcome. But that's a lie. Look back at the moments you thought you couldn't survive, the times you hit rock bottom, the days you felt cornered. You're still here, aren't you? You thought that pain would drown you, but it didn't. You thought you couldn't take any more, but you kept going. You're not as weak as the enemy wants you to believe. There's a strength inside you that you haven't even fully realized. Every time you think you're about to fall, you take another step. That's proof you're not easily defeated. But the enemy doesn't give up. If he can't break you with fear, doubt, or laziness, he'll find another way. He'll try to pull you away from me. He'll keep you busy with other things, so caught up in daily worries that you forget my presence in your life. He doesn't need to convince you to abandon me outright. He just needs to make you gradually forget. He knows that if you stop seeking me, if you stop listening for my voice, sooner or later you'll lose your way. But know this, nothing can separate you from me unless you choose to turn away. I'm always here, even when you forget I am. I don't abandon you, no matter how busy you get or how lost you become. But I want you to remember that if you want to defeat the enemy, to keep from drifting, you have to actively seek me out, actively maintain that relationship with me. Because when you walk with me, the enemy can't touch you. He might try to make you feel alone, but you're not alone. He might try to make you feel useless, but you're not useless. He might try to make you feel unloved, but I loved you before you even knew me. He might try to make you believe your life has no purpose, but I created you with a purpose that no one else can fulfill. You can't let him win. You can't give up. You can't let his lies drown out the truth. Because the truth is you're stronger than you think. The truth is you have a hopeful future. The truth is you're called to do great things. The truth is nothing can defeat you if you don't let it. Stand up. Keep moving. Don't look at the difficulty. Look at me. Don't look at the fear. Look at the hope. Don't let the darkness make you forget that the light is still waiting for you ahead. And remember, your enemy will not conquer you. Do you know what one of the enemy's most powerful tactics is? He doesn't always attack you with obvious, easily recognizable things. He doesn't always use huge challenges to make you falter. Sometimes he just plants a small seed of hesitation, of weariness, of hopelessness in your heart. He knows that big storms can make you vigilant, but it's the persistent drizzle, the monotonous, aimless days that can gradually erode your will. He slows you down, makes you waver, makes you hesitate when you have to make a decision. He wants you to no longer dare to step forward, no longer dare to pursue what I've placed in your heart. He whispers in your ear that it's not time yet, maybe tomorrow, maybe next year. And you believe that. You accept the delay. You allow your dreams, your goals, to gradually fade away. You think you still have time, but you don't realize that the enemy is stealing every moment from you, every day, every month, every year. But I tell you, don't wait. Don't let the days pass in ambiguity. If I have placed a desire, a mission in your heart, you must act now. The enemy wants you to procrastinate, but I want you to act. The enemy wants you to be afraid, but I want you to be courageous. The enemy wants you to doubt, but I want you to believe. Do you remember how many times you missed opportunities just because you were afraid? How many times you didn't dare take a step just because you thought you weren't ready enough? How many times you let the enemy convince you that you couldn't, that you weren't worthy, that you would fail? But think again, were you really incapable, or did you just believe a lie? Was it really impossible, or did you just let fear control you? If the enemy can't defeat you by knocking you down, He'll find a way to make you give up from within. He'll make you lose your enthusiasm, make you feel tired of your own life. He knows that once you no longer care about anything, you'll easily give up, you'll accept mediocrity, accept living a life without meaning, without passion, without goals. But you can't let him succeed. Remember that I didn't create you to live a dull life. I didn't create you just to exist, but to live, to walk in power, to pursue great things, to shine my light in the world. Every day of yours is meaningful. Every step of yours is important. Don't waste any moment just because you're stuck in procrastination, in hesitation, in fear. Stand up. Break every chain that's binding you. Break the lies that have held you back for too long. Step into the mission I have for you, and don't look back. Because when you're in me, the enemy won't conquer you. Have you ever wondered why sometimes you feel tired, lose motivation, even though you haven't encountered a major event? That's because the enemy doesn't just attack you with obvious things. He also uses the quiet erosion of everyday life. He slows you down with vague sadness, nameless emptiness, vague doubts that make you no longer feel joy in your own life. He doesn't need to steal everything from you immediately. He just needs to gradually make you lose faith in tomorrow, so you give up everything yourself. But you know, boredom isn't your destiny. The feeling of being lost and alone isn't something I want you to accept. I've placed in you a light, a fierce life, a mission that only you can complete. But if you let weariness make you stop, if you let uncertainty pull you off your path, you'll let the enemy achieve his goal. He can't destroy you, but he can make you lose the will so you lose yourself. You can't let that happen. Remember that you weren't created to exist meaninglessly. You weren't born just to breathe, work, and pass away as if you had never been on this earth. You carry within you a meaning greater than that, and I want you to hold on to it tightly. The enemy will try to make you believe that you're worthless, that your life is just a series of repetitive, boring days. He whispers that nothing will change, that all your efforts are futile, that you're just chasing things that have no result. But don't listen to him, because the moment you believe those lies, you give him the power to control you. You've allowed him to bind your mind in disappointment, in disorientation, in resignation. But I'm here to tell you that you're not lost, you're not useless, you're not as small as he wants you to think. Look back at what I've placed in your heart, the dreams you once had, the desires you once nurtured, the burning hopes that you once believed would come true. All of those things didn't happen by accident. I planted them in your heart for a reason. Don't let the enemy steal them from you just because he makes you tired, just because he makes you believe they can't happen. He can't take away your dreams unless you give them up yourself. He wants you to forget your purpose, forget who you are. He wants you to get caught up in the cycle of life without ever stopping to think about where you're going. He keeps you busy with meaningless things, so you no longer have time for what's important. He puts thousands of distractions, thousands of worries in front of you, so you never have enough mind to focus on what I want you to do. But you must wake up. Don't let yourself live without direction. Don't let the days pass without remembering what you started for. I call you out of weariness, out of stagnation, out of the negative thoughts that have surrounded you for too long. I call you into the abundant life that I have prepared for you. I don't promise that the road will always be easy, but I promise that you'll never have to walk alone. The enemy can't conquer you when you put your faith in me, when you don't let him steal the passion, the enthusiasm, and the hope in you. Remember that you can't fail when you don't give up. You can't be defeated when you keep moving forward. Even if you stumble, even if you slow down, even if you have moments of weakness, as long as you don't stop, you're still moving forward. And I will go with you, fight beside you, lift you up every time you fall. Because you are the one I have chosen, and the enemy will not conquer you. Your enemy doesn't just try to hinder you with suffering. He also uses the ordinary moments in life to make you lose your sharpness. He whispers in your ear with thoughts that you don't need to make too much of an effort, that you can postpone, that tomorrow is another day and you can wait a little longer. But you don't know that every time you slow down, every time you get lost in stagnation, that's a victory for him. He doesn't need to reveal himself as an evil force right in front of you. He just needs to plant a little hesitation, a little fatigue, a little feeling that you don't need to try anymore. And little by little, he takes away your strength without you realizing it. Look back at yourself. How many times have you wanted to start something but stopped because you were afraid? How many times have you felt you weren't good enough, strong enough, capable enough to achieve what you wanted? That's not the truth. That's just a lie that the enemy has poured into your mind. You weren't created to live in self-doubt. You weren't created to forever wait for a perfect time without ever acting. Do you know what he fears the most? He fears you standing up. He fears you deciding that you won't accept a mediocre life anymore. He fears you realizing that you can do more than you think, that you're stronger than you think, that you're not bound by the things he has tried to impose on you. He fears the day you awaken, the day you no longer listen to his lies, because then he no longer has any power over you. Then all his plans collapse. But if you keep letting yourself be deceived, if you keep living in hesitation, you'll lose yourself, and that's what he wants. He wants you to exist, but not really live. He wants you to just drift through each day without ever touching your true potential. He wants you to accept mediocrity, accept the limits you set for yourself, accept that you can't change. But that's not what I have destined for you. I want you to bravely walk forward. I want you to believe that nothing can stop you except yourself. You will face challenges. You will have difficult days, but those things don't define you. Those things are just opportunities for you to be stronger, for you to prove that you're not easily defeated. Your enemy wants to make you believe that when you fail once, it means you've lost the whole game. But no, one failure isn't the end. It's just a lesson for you to move forward with more wisdom, with greater determination. Don't let one mistake make you forget the things you've done right. Don't let one pain make you miss the joys that are still waiting ahead. Don't let one stumble make you forget that you can still stand up. I know there are times when you feel alone. There are moments when you think no one understands you, that no one truly sees what you're going through. But you're wrong. I always see you. I always know what you're facing. I know your fears, the things you don't say to anyone. I know how many times you want to give up. But I also know that you have a strength inside you that you haven't fully unlocked. I know that if you choose not to stop, not to turn back, you'll see that victory has always been waiting for you ahead. Remember that the enemy can't steal what belongs to you when you don't surrender. He can slow you down, but he can't make you stop unless you decide to. He can make you confused, but he can't take away your faith if you hold on to it tightly. He can create storms around you, but he can't extinguish the light in you unless you let it fade. Don't let yourself be deceived. Don't let yourself live a life that's just a shadow of what I have destined for you. Act and be bold now. Fight. Dare to look your enemy straight in the eye and say, "You will not conquer me." Your enemy doesn't just attack with fear or doubt. He also uses the little things that seem harmless to infiltrate your heart. He whispers in your mind with thoughts that you don't need to change right now, that you can continue as you are without any consequences. He makes you believe that you don't need determination, you don't need to strive. You don't need to let go of the things that are holding you back. He tempts you with habits that seem casual and harmless, but over time, they become chains that imprison you. He immerses you in temporary pleasures, in fleeting entertainment, so you forget the true meaning of your life. He doesn't need to attack you powerfully, because he knows that if you're just careless, if you just lose vigilance, he can gradually control you. He makes you think that life is only about comfort, about avoiding difficulties, about how to suffer the least. But you weren't created to live like that. You weren't created to avoid reality, to hide in a safe shell and never step out. If you live only trying to avoid what's difficult, you've already lost before the battle even begins. What does your enemy fear the most? He fears you realizing that you have a purpose much greater than what he has tried to sow in your mind. He fears you understanding that your life isn't just a series of meaningless days, but a journey with meaning, with a mission. He fears you awakening, because then his lies will no longer work. But to win, you can't just simply desire. You have to act. You have to bravely face yourself, face your weaknesses, face the pains you've been trying to avoid for so long. You have to be willing to change, willing to embark on a new journey, even if it means you have to give up familiar things. Because there's no victory for someone who stays still, no reward for someone who always waits without daring to act. When you decide to stand up, you'll encounter resistance not only from the enemy, but sometimes from the people around you. There will be those who don't want you to change, don't want you to go further, because they fear that when you're stronger, they'll be left behind. There will be those who laugh at you, mock you, make you doubt yourself. But you must remember that victory isn't for those who want to please everyone. You can't let your life be controlled by the opinions of others. You must be steadfast. You must be firm. You must understand that you can't both want to win and want to live an easy life. If you want to stand on the mountaintop, you must accept that the journey up will be difficult. If you want to step out of the darkness, you must be willing to leave behind the familiar things that have imprisoned you for so long. You've waited long enough. It's time for you to act. It's time to take back what should have been yours. It's time for you to look your enemy straight in the eye and declare that you will not be defeated. He can't conquer you unless you let him. He can't take away your strength unless you give it up yourself. He can't extinguish the light in you unless you allow the darkness to invade your soul. Stand up right now. Act right now. Break every limit. Conquer the heights that you never thought you could reach. Don't just exist. Live a brilliant, powerful life worthy of what I have placed in you. Because as I have said, your enemy will not conquer you. Your enemy doesn't just stand outside and look in. He looks for every way to come into your soul, to change the way you perceive the world, the way you think about yourself. He knows that if he can twist your perception, you'll trap yourself in invisible limits that he set up. Do you understand what I mean? Sometimes, the biggest obstacles in your life don't come from the outside, but from within, from the negative thoughts, from the doubts, from the fear that grows bigger and bigger every day. He doesn't need to come into the open. He just needs to make you slowly accept things that are wrong as if they're normal. He whispers in your ears that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you don't have the ability to change anything. He gets you used to failure, to the delay, to the feeling of being helpless. Whenever you want to reach up high, he reminds you of times you fell, of wounds you carried. He doesn't need to steal your dreams. He just has to make you give them up yourself, and that's how he manipulates you. But you need to remember that these lies are not the truth. You were not born to live in the dark side of doubts and fear. I've placed in you a source of power that the enemy can't reach. Do you know why he's trying to keep you from moving on? Because he knows that if you are aware of the real power in you, he won't be able to control you anymore. He knows that if you get up with your solid faith, there is nothing he can do to keep you from moving forward. But the victory does not come from the daydreaming or the desires without actions. You have to dare to stand up. You have to learn how to shatter the chains that have bound you for so long now. Don't let the old habits, the negative thoughts control you. Don't settle for living a dim life without any reason, without any spark in your heart. Your enemy wants you to be a dead man walking, without desire, without motivation, without dreams. But I won't let that happen. Each day you wake up is a new opportunity to change. You don't need to be bound by the past, by your mistakes, by your failures. You can reach up high right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. Don't wait for a perfect moment, because the perfect moment will never come. Don't wait until you feel ready, because if you keep on waiting, you will never begin. The change starts from your action, from the decision that you make in this moment. But you can't change if you keep holding on to what drags you down. Look back and check out what you're sticking to, the toxic relationships, the negative thoughts, the habits that drain your soul. You can't walk on the new path if you keep looking back at the old one. You can't fly if you keep holding on to the chains that are binding you. If you want to see a real change, you have to be ready to let go. But letting go does not mean that you become an empty person. No, I want you to be filled with the things that are better, more solid, more real. Replace the doubt with faith. Replace the fear with courage. Replace the laziness with the readiness to act. Do you know it? There's nothing on earth that can keep a human with a strong faith and a solid determination from moving on. No obstacle can defeat you if you are determined not to step back. Your enemy wants you to live in doubts, but I want you to live in certainty. He wants you to get closed up, but I want you to broaden your wings. He wants you to only see the darkness. But I want you to see the light. Don't let him win. Don't let him control you for any more second. Because once you step out of the darkness, he can never touch you again. So, stand up right now. Act right now. Break every limit. Conquer the highs that you never thought you could reach. Don't just exist. Live a brilliant, powerful life that is worthy of what I've placed in you. Because as I have said, your enemy will not defeat you. Amen.